Yes! That's awesome!
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Alright boys and girls, I hope you're having a lovely day, okay? Today boys, I'm going to be talking about the best and the worst Marvel games. Now obviously there's a new movie coming out soon that many of you guys are probably super excited for. And that of course guys is Wolverine and Deadpool, okay? I absolutely love the first two Deadpool movies, especially that first one. I can remember going to the cinema and seeing that. It was just hilarious.
Ripley from Alien 3.
Yeah, because I'm super excited for that movie, guys, of course I want to sort of spend this month talking about different Marvel stuff, okay? We've got lots of things planned, including this video, of course. In terms of the other videos we're going to be doing this month, guys, I'm going to be doing a video on the Wolverine game that was out for the PS3 and 360, so that's not going to be in today's video. I'm going to do an entire separate video on that, and I'm also going to be doing the same sort of thing for the Deadpool game, okay? So again, that's not going to be in today's video, but we are going to dedicate a whole video towards that Deadpool game. But yeah, guys, before we do get into things today, I do want to ask you guys in the comments to let me know your favorite Marvel games. I want to know some of the games you grew up with, some of the games you played recently. Just let me know your favorite Marvel games in the comments. But yeah, all that aside then boys, let's get into it, okay? I'm going to kick things off here with a PS Vita game, and that is going to be Lego Avengers. Okay guys, so I want to start off by saying that this was not actually the game that I was planning to talk to you guys today about. I was going to talk about a different Lego game, and that was Lego Marvel Heroes, I think it's called. That was like the game I planned on talking about. I have that game on PS Vita as well. However guys, for whatever reason, the PS Vita version of that game is way different to like the console versions, even though the PS Vita is more than capable of, you know, having like the full-on game on the console. Like the PS Vita is surprisingly powerful. So yeah, when I put that Lego Marvel game into my PS Vita and start playing it, immediately I knew something was off. Like I could just tell, you know, it just felt shit to play. I don't know how else to explain it. It just didn't feel very good, you know. It just didn't feel what I was used to, you know, when I play a Lego game on my PS Vita, because I've played quite a few Lego games on the Vita and most of them are pretty good. But yeah, I knew immediately something was off, so I ended up like looking it up on YouTube and stuff, and lo and behold, the PS3 and the 360 versions are way different than the Vita one.
We're the same, you and me.
Actually, no, we're not.
So at that point, I was thinking that I would just order the, you know, the PS3 version of that game, like that was kind of the plan. But then I remembered I do have the Avengers one, and I thought, let me try this one before I order that game. Let me just give this one a go, because maybe it's not quite the same. And yeah, this is actually a good port of the game, guys. It's not a completely different game. It's more or less exactly the same as the console versions, which makes you wonder why they decided to change the Marvel one. I don't know what was going on with the Lego ports, but it was just strange. Anyway, guys, enough about that backstory. Okay, let's talk about this actual game. Okay, so on the whole, like I said, this is exactly the same as the console versions, more or less. Maybe a few changes here and there, but pretty much the same. In terms of what I think about this game, guys, it's decent, you know, it's not bad at all. It's not the best Lego game I've ever played, but it's definitely not bad. Honestly, it's pretty like the best way I could sum up this game is it's just somewhat unremarkable. You know, we've seen Lego games before a million times. This is nothing new here. It's kind of just the same sort of thing, and I think at this point with Lego games, they were starting to get a little bit stale. Like when Lego games started off, you know, with like Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones, like that shit was crazy, you know, like that blew me away back in the day. But they've made so many Lego games at this point that, you know, they needed to shake it up a little bit more, I think, with this one. And on the whole, it just kind of felt like more of the same. Not to mention the fact that this game does have a few problems with it. One of the biggest problems I have with this game is the pacing. Now, which sounds really strange because I'm talking about a Lego game, not Red Dead Redemption, but no, I stand on it, boys. Like the pacing in this game is pretty terrible, because like when you're doing like the actual missions in the game, all is good, you know, you're having fun with the missions. I liked that, but then they take you out of the missions and put you in Manhattan, and then you have to like do stuff to get to the next mission. Like the pacing just feels really stop-start. You can never really just, you know, have a nice natural flow to the game. In the older Lego games, you would just go from level to level, you know, and I kind of liked that. You could just like play one level, you know, watch the cutscenes, play through it, you get another cutscene at the end, then you jump into the next level, etc. With this game, it just feels really stop-start, which I didn't like. And another thing that I wasn't like a massive fan of this game was like the cutscenes. Like in the older games, I just felt like the cutscenes were really, I don't know, just had a lot of charm, you know. There wasn't any dialogue, it was just pure slapstick, and I don't know, I like those older cutscenes, whereas with this one, I just felt like they were a bit lazy with it, you know. They just didn't quite have that same charm that the older ones had. There are a couple of good cutscenes in here, like I can remember one with the Hulk, and it's just really funny. I quite liked that one. a lot of the cutscenes here are literally just movie lines ripped from the movies and then just thrown over the top of some Lego stuff. Like, it's just, I don't know, it just lacks the charm of the older games in my opinion. So yeah, it might seem like I'm being really critical over a Lego game here, guys, and it might sound like I absolutely hate this one, but honestly, I didn't, okay? I did actually like it. It's still, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a Lego game, and Lego games are fun. It doesn't matter what Lego game you're playing, you'll always have fun. Going around with different Lego characters and collecting Lego studs is always fun, alright? It doesn't matter what the Lego game is, it will always be fun, and there's no exception here. It's still a fun game. I just feel like they needed to inject the formula with a little bit more spice, you know, just add something new. But yeah, it just kind of felt like the same as every other Lego game, which is unfortunate. Nonetheless, though, boys, if you're a huge Marvel fan and you like Lego games, it's not horrible, it's just not remarkable. Okay then, guys, next up I'm going to talk about Blade for the PS1. Okay guys, when it comes to Blade, like the character himself in the movies and stuff, I absolutely love it, okay? I mean, the first two Blade movies are some of my favourite movies of all time, especially that first Blade. I absolutely adore it. There's just something about action movies in the 90s that were just so iconic, you know? Everyone was going around with glasses and trench coats, and the shit was just cool back then, okay? And the first Blade movie is just, for me, it's a 10 out of 10 movie. I just love it. So when it comes to this game, guys, I was pretty damn pumped for it, okay? Because again, I love Blade, and I've actually played Blade 2 on PS2, and I really liked that game. I played that game as a kid and absolutely loved it. So yeah, I had pretty high expectations for this one. However, guys, we didn't get off to a good start with this one. I would even say we got off to a horrendous start with this game. I put this game into my PS1, guys, start playing it, and I immediately noticed how freaking dark this game is. And not like tonally dark, like physically dark. Like, you can't see shit in this game. It's the darkest game I've ever played. Like, there's just no light at all. And I get that this is a game about vampires and stuff, like it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows, I get that, but they could have done a bit better with the lighting here. You can't see anything hardly.
Patrick, is that you?
What?
I said, is that you?
I can't hear you! It's too dark in here!
Secondly, with this game, guys, I noticed the controls are absolutely horrendous. I know that the PS1 is not exactly notorious for having great controls. I'd probably even argue that half the games on PS1 have bad controls, but this one has really, really weird ones, okay? The shoot button in this game, guys, you'll never guess it. In fact, I'll give you some time to guess what the shoot button is in this game. Right? Yeah, okay, you've had your guesses. X. The X button is the shoot button. Another thing that's weird about the controls here is that the game will give you chances to like save the game, so there'll be like a point where you walk into it and you save it, okay? Now, for some strange reason, to confirm your save is the triangle button, and to cancel the save is the X button. I don't know if anyone else feels like this is the weirdest fucking control layout to a game ever, but yeah, to me, these controls were so backwards. So yeah, we're not off to a good start with this one, guys, okay? But it does get a little bit better from there, because once I got used to those weird controls, the game was pretty cool, okay? It's a pretty fun action game. It's got amazing music, okay? The music in here is so cheesy, okay? It just reminds me of the 90s. I love the music here. And I was overall just having a good time kicking some vampire ass, okay? I'm going around, I'm slicing people up, I'm shooting them. It's a good time, you know? It's good fun. However, guys, things did take a bit of a turn after that, okay? Despite me enjoying this game, things went south real quick. So basically, guys, I encountered this part in the game where there's just a ton of vampires in all these different rooms, and it's a pretty tough section, alright? There's vampires literally everywhere, so it's not an easy section, but I get through it, okay? Despite me getting my ass kicked over and over and over again, I do manage to get through it, only to encounter a boss battle with no checkpoint, alright? And this boss fight is bullshit, alright? This boss fight is so needlessly difficult, considering it's the very first boss of the whole game. But yeah, it was really hard, especially after a hard section with no checkpoint. So I died to this boss over and over and over and over again. I try everything against this boss, and nothing seems to work. He just immediately takes you out in 1 or 2 hits for some reason. It's a bizarrely difficult boss for no fucking good reason. At that point, guys, I was gonna give up, okay? I was like, you know what? I'm done with this game. I had my fun. I don't want to play it anymore. But then I finally did it, boys. After trying over and over and over again, I beat the boss, and I was like, yes, yes, yes. I was so happy, right? However, no checkpoint, alright? You beat the boss, still no checkpoint after beating the boss, and then I died. And then I had to do the whole section over again, including that boss. That was it. After that, boys, I was done, alright? I was not gonna play this game anymore. It's not worth it. For me, guys, this is just a perfect example of a game that just has not stood the test of time. I think back in the day, this would have been a good time, but by today's standards, you know, the things that we're used to with modern games, this one is not it. And believe me, guys, I play a lot of PS1 games, okay? So I know what I'm talking about. I play PS1 games all the time, but this one is not aged well. There's things about this game that I really, really like. There's lots of things about this game that's good, but there's also lots of things that are bad. And if you could remake this game, I think we'd have a banging game on our hands here, but unfortunately, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Nonetheless though, boys, if you're looking for a challenge, check out Blade on the PS1, because you will certainly find some challenge here. It's not an easy game by any means. Okay, guys, next up, I want to talk about The Punisher for the PS2.
But if I did, this would be it.
Alright guys, so I've talked about a couple of games that I'm not like huge fans of. This game, however, guys, I am a massive fan of, okay? This, out of all the games that I'm going to be talking about today, this is probably my favourite, to be honest. And a lot of it does come down to nostalgia. I played this game as a kid all the time, okay? And I absolutely loved it. I can literally remember even going into the game shop and buying this game, okay? I've got a bit of a story with this one. So yeah, I walk into Game, guys, okay? Yes, Game, alright? The shop that is now no longer selling games and pretty much sells merchandise, that Game, you know, but back then Game was actually good. So I walk into the shop, I'm just going through the games, and I pick this out, alright, and I see, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing guns, you know, I'm liking the look of it, I see the back cover, I like what I see. So I asked my mum, can I have this game? And now my mum doesn't really care about the things that I played and watched, you know, when I was a kid. She would pretty much let me do what I wanted when it came to playing and watching stuff. We used to like watch South Park and play GTA, you know, when we were really young. So my mum, generally speaking, didn't care. However, when she saw this game, she did like sort of hesitant, like she wasn't sure about it, because she saw the back, okay, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's pretty violent, and she wasn't too thrilled about it, okay? So she was kind of like, she didn't say I couldn't have it, but she was kind of like, you know, could you maybe pick a different game? So I was like, alright, fine, let me pick something else. So I'm going through the games again, guys, trying to find something, and I pick out a game called Urban Reign for the PS2, and I take that to the counter, and basically they gave me the wrong disc in the game. They actually put a game called Urban Chaos into the case, and I noticed it. I was like, that's not the right disc. You know, I said to the guy at the till, I don't think that's the right disc, and he looked and was like, oh shit, yeah, you're right. So he goes back, looks for the, you know, for the right disc for this game, and he couldn't find it. He couldn't find the right disc. So at that point, guys, I sort of took another stab at it. I said, Mum, can I please have that Punisher game, pretty please? And she hesitantly let me have this game because they couldn't find the Urban Reign game. But yeah, that's how I ended up getting this game. I took it home that day, and oh my god, boys, I had such a good time with this game, because it is fucked up, okay? This game is not a game that any kid should be playing, but my god, did I fucking love it. And the reason I loved it so much, guys, is the executions, okay? In this game, basically, you can pick people up and like interrogate them. You take them to different areas. There'll be like a big skull. You take them over there and you can interrogate people. And the whole point is you're supposed to get like really close to killing them, but then you don't. Like, that's kind of the point. But it doesn't stop you from killing people either. So, and really the only negative to doing so is getting a few minus points on a score, which I didn't care about anyway. So of course, when I'm interrogating people, I'm just killing them, alright? Because it's kind of fun to do.
That shit is awesome. I mean, it's fucked up, but...
And the executions in this game, guys, are freaking wild, alright? You can throw people into a piranha pool, alright? You can drill people's skulls. There's one point in the game where you can throw someone into like a car crusher, and it just smushes them, alright? You can put someone's ballsack into a table saw. This game is so messed up. So yeah, as a kid, guys, I just loved it, okay? I loved going through this game and just doing all of these absolutely crazy executions. I had such a blast with it. And when it comes to the actual gameplay aside from that, it's a super fun game as well, okay? You go around shooting people, you can dual wield almost every gun, so you can go around with dual wield and shotguns and shit. And the game is just an insanely fun action game, okay? You literally are the Punisher. You are a walking weapon in this game. It's so much fun. Another thing I like about this game as well, guys, is gotta be the atmosphere, okay? This game has a really good atmosphere, especially in those first two levels, alright? Those first two levels really nail like a dark and gritty atmosphere, so that's definitely one of the best aspects of the game.
No, please!
Shit! You killed him! Yeah, and you're next.
Now where's the money?
Another thing I do like about this game, guys, is there's like various different Marvel cameos. So in this game, you'll encounter Iron Man. There's one point in the game where Daredevil turns up. Even Black Widow turns up at one point, except for it's not Scarlett Johansson, it's, I don't know, some Russian chick, which I'm all cool for. But yeah, the cameos in this game, really, really cool. And on the whole, guys, it's just such a fun game, okay? It's really violent, but my god, is it fun. So if you want to kill people, The Punisher, the game, you need to play it. Alright, boys, next up, I want to talk about Ghost Rider for the PSP. Okay, guys, so this is a game that you would look at and you wouldn't really think it'd be that good, okay? Because, I mean, it's a movie tie-in game, and the movie itself is kind of shit, alright? It's that Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movie, and it's not the best movie by any means, alright? So you would expect the game to kind of be the same sort of thing. You'd kind of expect it to be kind of shit. But surprisingly, guys, this game is actually pretty damn good, alright? This is a really decent little movie tie-in game. It's not perfect, it's not the best game ever made or anything, but it is actually quite good. And one thing you might wonder, guys, is like, why I'm holding up the PSP version, okay? Because this game does have a PS2 port, and you guys might wonder like why I chose the PSP version over the PS2 version. Honestly, not much reason other than I just wanted to play it portably. The PSP version is pretty much the same as the PS2 version, so I just went with the PSP version again for that portability. And like I said, guys, this is actually a pretty damn good game. In terms of what it is, guys, it's pretty much a hack and slash game. If I was to like best describe it, I would say it's like an old school God of War clone. So if you've ever played God of War, like the originals, there's basically this game, you know, they kind of just copied the formula.
He copied my whole fucking flow! Word for word, bar for bar!
But in my opinion, guys, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because, you know, God of War is a good game, so if you're going to copy something, you know, copy a good game, and they did. They copied the fuck out of it, but they made it good, so I'm not going to complain. To mix things up, the game does also have these, like, motorcycle sections. They're alright, you know, I wouldn't say they're amazing, but it does break up the pace a little bit, which is cool. But yeah, in terms of that hack and slash gameplay, guys, it's got some really decent combos in there, so, like, surprisingly so. The game actually has a decently deep combat system, which did surprise me. The game feels very fluent and nice to play, like, it just has that good sort of hack and slash gameplay, and it feels real good. The game has lots of different enemies, so you won't get too bored, because there's plenty of enemy variety. And this game also does have a fair amount of boss battles, most of which are pretty good, and they're all different, which, again, is another good thing about the game. And also just like the way this game looks, alright? This game has a real cool look to it. All the different enemies look cool, all the different environments look cool, everything just looks like cool in a demonic way. But yeah, it just suits the game and it looks real nice. In terms of negatives with this one, guys, honestly there's not too much here, but like the story is kind of shit. I think it's based on the movie, but I honestly can't remember because I haven't seen the movie in the longest time. The upgrade system here is pretty unremarkable. It's not bad, but it's just super basic, so that was kind of a negative to me. But the biggest problem I had with this game, honestly, guys, is the length, okay? Because I really enjoyed this game, but it is so short. You can beat this game in a couple hours, alright? This is a really, really short game, so that was honestly kind of disappointing. I was hoping it would be longer. But yeah, on the whole, guys, this one was surprisingly good. So if you like your hack and slash games, give Ghost Rider a go, because it is actually pleasantly surprising. Okay, boys, next up, I want to talk about Fantastic Four for the PS2.
Step on the scene, it's the ever-loving divine thing. It's robbery time.
Okay, guys, so when it comes to nostalgia, The Punisher is right up there, obviously, for nostalgia, but this game might honestly be, I mean, it's at least neck and neck with The Punisher when it comes to nostalgia, or I've got a lot of nostalgia for this one. This was one of the very first PS2 games I ever owned, okay? When I got the PS2 for Christmas, this was one of the first games I got for it, okay? My mum got me 4 games for Christmas with the PS2, and this was one of them. In terms of the other games, just in case you're curious, you're probably not, but I'm going to tell you anyway, Judge Dredd, Dredd vs. Death, that was one of them. Another one was The Thing, which is a game I was too scared to play back in the day. Like, I looked at the cover and I said, nope, that looks scary, so I didn't really play that one. And the other game was SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. I definitely played that one. I loved that one a lot. And yeah, this was the 4th game I got, guys, and I was a really big fan of Fantastic Four as a kid. I don't know why, I just really loved this movie growing up. I think I just really liked The Thing, you know? The Thing was just really cool. Like, he's a big fucking orange brick man. And Jessica Alba's not too bad either. But yeah, point is, I really liked Fantastic Four growing up. I really liked the game, and I really liked the movie. So when I was coming back to this one, guys, I was quite excited, because I hadn't played it since I was a kid. However, I quickly realized, guys, that sometimes you need to leave nostalgia alone. Sometimes it works out. Like The Punisher, I played that as a kid and loved it. I played it now and I loved it. With this game, I loved it as a kid. I didn't love it as an adult. So in terms of how this game starts off, guys, not the worst thing I've ever played. You know, you're going around with the different Fantastic Four characters and you're beating up robots. I mean, it's fine. It's sort of like a beat 'em up style game. It's not good, but it's not terrible at the start. Second level, same sort of thing, except for instead of beating up robots, you're beating up black people, which is kind of a little bit sus from this game. I don't know what was going on there.
That's gotta be racist.
And then you get to level 3 and now you're beating up these different sewer monsters, and that's just kind of like the whole formula of this game, guys, okay? You just go from level to level and you beat up enemies, alright? The gameplay itself isn't like terrible, it is functional, it's not completely broken, but at the same time, it's not great, it's a little bit janky, it's a little bit clunky, it just doesn't have a nice, satisfying feeling, especially with certain characters like Invisible Girl, for example. Like the way her combat feels is just terrible for some reason. But then you play as a Thing and it's a bit better. But yeah, the game just has this really repetitive feel to it, guys, okay? The game gets really boring really quick, and it's not a short game. It just immediately gets super stale because all you're doing is beating up endless hordes of enemies and just nothing else. Like, there's no variety in this game at all. You literally spend the entire game beating up enemies, and when the combat isn't super fun, that's kind of a problem. One of the worst things in my opinion about this game, guys, is that you don't always have a choice on who you get to play as. There's certain sections in this game where you have to play as the characters that are aligned, like you have to play as them, and like I said before, like certain characters just do not feel good, like the Invisible Girl. She feels like shit. She looks good, alright, because it's Jessica Alba, but she doesn't play good. So when you're forced to play as her and the combat is really shit and the game is really repetitive, there's not really a lot of good things about it, you know? Like, that's the whole game, and it's just not particularly fun at times. And it got to a point with this game, guys, that I just sort of had to call it a day, because I was like, the more I played it, the more I hated it, alright? And this is a childhood classic of mine, alright? I don't want to hate this game. I want to like it. I regret playing it whatsoever. And I just didn't want to get to a point with this game where every time I'd look at it, I would just hate its guts. Like, it's already to a point where I look at it and I see disappointment, alright? So again, I regret playing it, honestly. But let that be a lesson to you guys, okay? If you've got nostalgia for something, let it just be nostalgia. Let it just be memories. Don't always have to go back and revisit it, because sometimes it disappoints, alright? And that is a perfect example of it. Okay, guys, let's get to some modern stuff, okay? Let's talk about Spider-Man for the PS4. Okay, guys, so I'm going to say something a little bit controversial here, okay? I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan.
What did he say? What the fuck? What the fuck? Shit!
But no, in all seriousness, guys, I don't hate Spider-Man or anything. I just don't love him as a character, you know? Like, I see people online and they go crazy for Spider-Man. They absolutely love this character, whereas me, I'm more of a darker character, you know? Like, I like my Batmans, alright? I like my Rorschachs. I like my Punishers, alright? Spider-Man, it's a little bit too nerdy, a little bit too goofy. I think I needed Peter Parker to have more of a fucked up backstory, okay? I needed Uncle Ben to die and Aunt May to die at the same time in a fire. And then his dog dies right after, alright, John Wick style. But no, in all seriousness, guys, I don't hate Spider-Man, I just don't love him, alright? So when this game like got released, I wasn't like super excited for it. I thought it looked cool, I liked the look of it, but I wasn't blown away or anything. However, what did get me excited, guys, was who made it, okay? Insomniac Games, they've made some bangers, okay? The Resistance games, love those games, alright? Ratchet and Clank, love Ratchet and Clank, okay? So when I knew they were making this game, that did excite me. And obviously I saw the reviews this game was getting, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to get this one, okay? Even though I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan, I'm gonna have to get it, alright? And when I did get it, it was a damn good game, alright? I really enjoyed this one. I want to say, guys, like, if you want to start your game off good, do it the Spider-Man way, okay? This game starts off absolutely amazingly, okay? This game just goes from 0 to 100 so quickly. Like, from the minute this Spider-Man jumps out of that window and you're flying through New York, and then you get to the crime scene and you're kicking some ass, and then you're fighting Kingpin, this is all happening within the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game. Great intro, absolutely love the intro here. In terms of the gameplay here, guys, I gotta say it is really, really good, okay? I think my favorite thing has got to be that web slinging. Just flying around in New York with your webs. That shit is so fun, okay? And New York just looks stunning, so it's just super fun. Insomniac really did just nail that web slinging. Like, they just got it down to a T, where if any other Spider-Man game comes out and it doesn't have that Insomniac web slinging, you know, I'll be pretty disappointed. I feel like they just took the formula that was sort of created in that Spider-Man 2 PS2 game. They took what was great about that, you know, but obviously this was early days. They took like the good stuff and they just perfected it here, you know. And again, that's like the best aspect of this game in my opinion. It's got to be the web slinging. It's just so good. In terms of like the combat here, guys, it's super fast, it's super smooth, and it's basically just sort of Batman Arkham but with Spider-Man. Feels super nice. I wouldn't say I prefer it to Batman Arkham, but it definitely does feel good, especially as you get later into the game when you start unlocking different upgrades and different skills and, you know, different gadgets and stuff. The combat does start to feel amazing, and you just get this real flow of things, you know, and it just feels super good. And also story-wise, this game is pretty good. Okay, again, I'm not like the hugest Spider-Man fan, but I did enjoy the story here quite a bit, and this game introduced me to some characters I've never met before, because again, I'm not super familiar with Spider-Man. So the first time I ever met Miles was through this game. I never knew who Miles was. You've also got Mr. Negative, who's like the main villain of the game. I didn't know who he was, and he was a pretty cool villain. So the game was introducing me to all these new characters, which is cool. And also there's a moment in this game that I'm not going to spoil just in case you haven't played it, but it involves Aunt May towards the end of the game. So if you've played it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It got me emotional, all right? I won't lie, it did make me emotional. So yeah, I've got to say, story was pretty good. In terms of downsides with this game, guys, my only downside I think is the Mary Jane missions. Okay, the Mary Jane missions absolutely suck. They're so boring, they're so shit, they're really bad, all right? The Mary Jane missions suck, and I feel like everyone unanimously agrees that they're not good, all right? No one likes the Mary Jane missions, and I'm in the same boat. But yeah, on the whole, guys, Insomniac, they did a super good job with this game. They made, in my opinion, what is the best Spider-Man game. They did such a good job with this. Okay, guys, next up, I want to talk about Marvel Ultimate Alliance for the PS2. Okay guys, so I've already been a little bit controversial in today's video by me saying that I don't love Spider-Man as a character. Well, I'm about to get even more controversial, okay? I'm about to ruffle some feathers with my opinion on this game, alright? I didn't love Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I know I'm an awful, despicable human being. This game is loved by many, okay? You will not hear too many people talk badly about this game, alright? But I'm about to say it. I didn't really like this game that much. I didn't hate it. I don't think it's a bad game by any means, but I don't think it was for me. But before we get into things I don't like about this game, guys, let's talk about what I do like about it, okay? And that is, of course, the roster, okay? The roster here is super, super impressive, okay? You can literally play as so many different Marvel characters, and this is pre-Avengers, okay? This is like before you would see that many sort of collaborative Marvel things, you know? That wasn't really super usual at this point. So the fact that you can play as all sorts of different Marvel characters, some super well known, some not so much, you know, you got B-list, A-list, C-list sort of Marvel characters all in this game, that's pretty remarkable, okay? So I've got to give it credit there. In terms of like who I was playing as in this game, I would spend a lot of time with Ironman, I would spend a lot of time with Deadpool, because I love Deadpool, Wolverine I love as well, I'd play as him a lot. I also played as the Thing quite a bit, so yeah, I would play as lots of different characters, but I would say they were like the 4 characters that I played as the most. And again, in my opinion, that's the best thing about this game, is the different characters, because there's literally so many. And according to the back cover, guys, I don't know if this is exaggerated or not, but you can interact with more than 140 characters, apparently, according to the back cover. So yeah, that just tells you there's a lot of different Marvel characters in this game, which is super impressive. But yeah, let's talk about what I didn't like about this game so much, guys, okay? My biggest problem with this game is it just feels repetitive to me. I just got bored with it super quickly, and I know that's not what you want to hear. You want to hear me say that this is the best game ever, but no, I just found it a bit repetitive. I will say this, guys, like when it comes to RPGs, I'm not the biggest fan of RPGs. I don't play too many of them because I do find a lot of RPGs pretty repetitive. Like for my liking, guys, I like to play my game for a good few hours and then, you know, play something else. You know, I like to mix it up, whereas with RPGs you sometimes spend hundreds of hours doing the same sort of things, and I just find that repetitive personally. And the only RPG I can think of that I didn't really get too bored with was like Persona 5. Like that's the only one that I can think of where I spent hundreds of hours playing it and didn't get bored. This game is not like hundreds of hours, okay? It's actually quite a short RPG. I'm pretty sure it's probably like, I don't know, 15 to 20 hours, but I just got bored with it, guys. Like it just felt like every single time I was playing it, it just felt like the same thing over and over again. Like you would just go into a room, beat a few people up, go into the next room, beat them up, so on and so forth, and then you get some boss battles which would mix it up. And I did like the boss battles in this game, they were pretty good, but again, you beat them up, move on, you get some dialogue, you know, and the dialogue wasn't particularly interesting for me. And then you go into another room and you beat them up, and it just kind of felt like that, guys. And every time I sort of play this game, I would just feel myself drifting off a little bit, you know? I would just be like playing it, and I would just start to feel tired.
Getting kind of bored.
That's just the honest truth of it, guys. I wanted to like this game so badly, but every time I'd play it, I would get bored, and I didn't want to be like that. I wanted to love it, but it just wasn't for me, okay? And I just, yeah, I feel like this is not my style of game, which is a shame, because I was hyped for it, okay? I'd heard all the good things about it, and I was like, okay, I'm excited for this one. But yeah, I just didn't love it. And it doesn't mean I hated it either, guys, before you kill me in the comments. I just don't think it was my cup of tea, personally. I could see a lot of people liking it, though. If you like your RPGs and you like your Marvel characters, you will probably love this game, but for me, I just wasn't a big fan. Okay, guys, next up, let's talk about Thor God of Thunder. Okay guys, you know I was saying I wasn't a big fan of Marvel Ultimate Alliance? Compared to this, like, that game is a masterpiece, alright? Compared to Thor, I would play this game for fucking 500 hours than play 1 more hour of Thor God of Thunder. I saw the review scores for this game before I picked it up, guys, okay? I saw that this game was very low on Metacritic, but I wanted to give it a chance, guys, alright? Because there's plenty of games that I don't think have got, like, the best reception, but I still personally like them, alright? Like, for example, Duke Nukem Forever, alright? That's a notoriously bad game for a lot of people. I like that game, alright? I know, my taste in games isn't good. I don't like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but like Duke Nukem Forever, alright? That tells you a lot about me. But yeah, basically what I'm getting to, guys, is despite, you know, low review scores, I always want to give a game a chance, you know? I want to see if the game is good for me, you know? Because sometimes they don't get the best scores, but I personally love them. Unfortunately, though, guys, in the case of Thor God of Thunder, the reviews were correct, okay? They were absolutely correct. This game is bad, alright? Really, really bad. So what's so bad about this game, guys? Okay, well, first of all, guys, graphically, alright, I'm not like the biggest graphic guy, you know, I can usually forgive bad graphics, but holy shit, the graphics in Thor God of Thunder are really, really bad. If I said this looked like a PS2 game, I feel like I'd be insulting the PS2, because the PS2 looks better than this game at times. This game has some of the worst character models I've ever seen, okay? It has awful looking environments with no detail. It is just a plain bad looking game. They put no effort into the visuals of this game. But you know what, guys? If the visuals were bad but the actual gameplay was good, I would have forgiven it. But the gameplay isn't good either. This entire game, guys, is pretty much a God of War clone, you know, not too dissimilar to Ghost Rider that we talked about earlier. But the difference is Ghost Rider is good, smooth, polished, fun. This game is none of those things, okay? This game is so... this game lacks any polish at all. It's so janky. It's so horrible to play. And the combat in this game feels terrible at times, alright? It just does not have a good feel to it at all. And the combat in this game is so repetitive because you're just fighting the same enemies over and over and over and over again. You'll be hitting enemies with Thor's hammer in this game, and it just feels like you're hitting them with a stuffed toy, alright? There's just no impact with any of your combat in this game.
This is the worst game I have ever played.
And despite all of these things I'm saying about this game, guys, despite me literally having nothing good to say about it, despite this game being absolutely awful, I played through nearly all of the game. I played pretty much all of it. And the only reason I didn't finish the game is that for some reason, the very last few chapters of the game, I think it was chapter 14 even, is next to impossible to finish. Alright, this game is not a hard game at all, up to this point, and then the game just becomes the hardest fucking game ever made. And the only thing that was even slightly redeeming about this game was the fact that it wasn't that hard. I could put some YouTube on, shut my brain off and play it, alright? And then out of nowhere, this game hits you with the hardest chapter imaginable, where it's borderline impossible. Basically, guys, what this chapter entails is you have this, like, ticking time bomb, if you like, okay, with Asgard. Asgard is falling to pieces, supposedly, and you have to do these list of objectives before the timer runs out. The objectives themselves aren't particularly difficult to complete. The problem is the timer. You have to do it in this set time, and it is impossible to do it in the time limit. I am convinced it's impossible. Most of these objectives aren't going to take you super long, okay, but then you fight this frost giant guy, and he takes forever. You can't, I'm convinced it's near impossible, just because of how long this frost giant thing takes to be. Like, and every time I've looked it up on YouTube, I've looked up the walkthroughs on how to do it, people are doing it by the slimmest of margins, and I'm like, why am I even bothering to put this effort into a game that's so bad? So yeah, long story short, guys, I didn't finish the game. I wanted to finish it just to say that I'd done it, but yeah, I couldn't persevere anymore, boys, okay? The game is absolutely awful. Do not play it. I don't care how big of a Thor fan you are. Do not play this game. It's really, really bad. Alright, boys, next up, I'm going to talk about Ironman for the Nintendo DS. Okay guys, so this is a game I actually got for Christmas as a kid. I remember this Christmas because like my mum just got me loads of DS games. I was really chuffed. I remember I got like Wally on DS. I got Lego Star Wars Complete Saga on DS. I'm trying to think of the other game. Obviously, I got this one, but there was one other game that I'm trying to remember now. I think it was a wrestling game. I can't remember exactly which one it was. It might have been 2008. It might have been 2009. SmackDown versus Raw. I can't remember now. I was a big wrestling fan back in the day. I still am, actually. But yeah, anyway, that's off topic. But yeah, I got this game for Christmas as a kid, and I didn't really play it that much because I'm pretty sure I got stuck on it super quickly. I think I played like a couple of levels, and then I got stuck, and that was kind of the end of that. So yeah, I did play this one like back in the day, but not too much. So yeah, when I booted this one up, guys, I wasn't sure what to expect because it's not a game that I like super loved as a kid or anything, but at the same time I didn't want to completely hate it, you know, similar to like how I felt with Fantastic Four. But then again, if I did, I wouldn't have been that devastated about it because again, I just didn't have the memories I did with like Fantastic Four. Anyway, boys, long story short, guys, I boot this game up and honestly, it's okay. I mean, this game is for me like a perfect sort of 5 out of 10. No, that's not a perfect score, but you know what I mean. This is a 5 out of 10 game. This is a game that's by no means amazing, but at the same time, it's by no means awful. It's completely playable. It's completely fine, but it does nothing great. You know, it's just a mid as hell game.
I don't hate it. I just don't like it at all.
In terms of what it is, guys, it's kind of like a shoot 'em up. Like if you've ever played a shoot 'em up, it's kind of like that, except for you actually control Iron Man properly. Like you can control where he goes. So gameplay wise, it does feel quite nice. You know, combat does feel decent. Not amazing, but not bad at all. Graphically, it looks okay for a DS game. It doesn't look incredible, but you know, I've seen worse. On the whole, guys, there's really not that much to say about this one. It's just an okay sort of shoot 'em up style Iron Man game. Again, it's not terrible. It's fine. I did beat it in like, I think I beat it in a really short time. This is a really short game, I will say that. Yeah, I sat through it, guys. I played it for a couple days, finished it, and my thoughts were, that was alright. That was just kind of how I felt about it. I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was awful. I just thought it was mid, alright? It's not a game I'd recommend you guys play, but at the same time, if for some reason you wanted to play it, I wouldn't say don't do it. It's just, I don't know, it's a mid game. There's really not a lot to say about it. It's one of those games where there's nothing I can say about it. There's nothing to talk about here. It's a shoot 'em up style Iron Man game that's really short and, you know, has an okay story. I'd actually tell a lie, the upgrade system was actually pretty good, alright, for a DS game. So that's probably the best thing about it. But yeah, it's to me, this is a 5 out of 10 game. It's alright. Okay, guys, I want to end things with an absolute bang, okay? Let's end things with Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. Okay, guys, so this is a game that I was super excited to play, okay, because I'd heard amazing things about it. Like, everywhere I looked about, like, Hulk games, everybody would say that this is by far the best Hulk game, so I was super hyped for it. Another reason I was super hyped for it, guys, is it's made by Radical Entertainment, who also made some of my absolute favorite games. Like, they made the Prototype games, they made the Simpsons Hit and Run games, they made the Scarface PS2 game, they made some bangers. And what's really cool about this game, guys, is it's basically Prototype, but with the Incredible Hulk. So what's not to love? You know, if you've ever played Prototype, that game is just pure anarchy and pure fun, and this game is literally that, but with the Hulk, okay? It's the perfect Hulk game, really. You can literally just go around a city and just cause pure destruction, okay? If you want to pick up tanks and throw them at helicopters, you totally can. If you want to pick up cars and turn them into boxing gloves, you can do that. If you want to pick up cows and throw them, you can, alright? You can pretty much do what you want in this game, and it's amazing. I will say, though, guys, you don't feel like much of a hero with this game. I definitely felt like a menace playing this game. I felt like the bad guy, because I mean, imagine if you were a civilian and you just look out your window or whatever and you see the Incredible Hulk picking up your car and you know, just like fucking lobbing it at helicopter. You wouldn't be happy.
What the fuck, y'all? God damn! God damn!
And one aspect of this game that's really awesome, guys, is the movement, okay? This game has fantastic movement. The way you can just run around with Hulk feels so good. He feels so quick. The way you can jump just into the sky is awesome. You can literally run up buildings, for crying out loud. Like, this game feels so fun to just play around with the movement. And it's honestly, like, super surprising for a PS2 game, because a lot of PS2 games sort of feel really clunky to play, but this game does not feel clunky at all. They nailed the movement here. So yeah, when it comes to the gameplay, guys, I absolutely adored adored this one, okay? I love the way this game played, I love the movement, I love the combat. This is a really, really fun game to play, so it absolutely delivered in that aspect. However, there is one aspect of this game that honestly I wasn't too thrilled about, okay? And that is the difficulty. Now, I'm no stranger to difficult games, guys, alright? I'm not like amazing at games, but at the same time, I can deal with some pretty hard ones, okay? I've beaten Sekiro like 4 times, you know? I've played Elden Ring, I don't know, I've played Cuphead, you know, I've played some hard games in my time, alright? I'm not completely hopeless at video games. This game is another level of difficult though, okay? This game is so hard. I probably only got about, I don't know, a quarter of the way through this game. I didn't get far at all, guys, and the difficulty just goes from 0 to 100 so quickly, because this game just throws everything at you, alright? Everything in the kitchen sink is thrown at you in this game, and they're just like, alright, deal with it. And I'm like, I can't deal with it. It's too much. Like, you'll have tanks fucking coming out your ass. You'll have helicopters shooting at you at the same time. Then they'll have, like, Hulk busters thrown at you. Like, there's just too much, right? This game just asks too much of you. It'd be one thing if this game gave you, like, a really long health bar or something. But no, you have the puniest little health bar. So, I don't know. This game is just so ridiculously hard. So, I did not get very far with it, sadly. I wanted to play way more of this game than I did. I only spent a couple hours with it. But yeah, I just got stuck with it, guys. I couldn't really progress. And I just gave up in the end because I was like, I can't do it, alright? I had to give up. So yeah, if any of you guys in the comments have played this game and you've got any tips at all, please let me know, because I want to play more of it, but it's so hard and I couldn't get very far with it. But nevertheless, still a really good game, and I definitely recommend it, especially if you like a challenge, but also if you like Hulk. Alright, it's a really good Hulk game. Okay, guys, so that is all the games that we played today, okay? That is 10 different Marvel games. I tried to go for variety, okay? So we've got games from different consoles. Obviously, all of these are from different Marvel sort of franchises, so I tried to do something, you know, different for all of them. But yeah, I'm definitely probably going to do a part 2 to this at some point, guys. I'm not sure when, but there definitely will be a part 2. So do let me know in the comments what Marvel games I should include in part 2. So I want to hear in the comments. Other than that, though, boys and girls, subscribe here if you're new, and I'll see you guys next one, alright? Peace.